Namaste student. Today we are going to discuss the last topic in the chapter metals and non-metals. In this class we are going to discuss about the topics related to refining of metals, corrosion, how it is prevented and what is an alloy and what are the uses of alloy. Okay, so the first topic today is refining of metals. So in the last class what we did is we have discussed about how the metal is extracted from their ores. Now there are three methods of extraction. First is your concentration, second is your reduction, and the third is your refining of metals. Then what is the need of refining of metals? So when the metal is obtained from reduction process, the metal is having certain impurities, and that impurities must be removed by the process of refining of metals. So what happened in this method? Impure metal rod is made to act as a anode, whereas a strip of pure metal act as a cathode. They are placed in a suitable electrolytic solution containing soluble salt of the same metal. So whatever the metal is having, that impure metal rod act as an anode, pure metal rod act as a cathode, and the same metal salt is act as a electrolyte, means aqua solution. When electricity is passed through the electrolyte, then impure metal from anode dissolve into the electrolyte, whereas the same amount of pure metal from the electrolyte is deposited at the cathode. Hence the insoluble impurities settle down at the bottom of the anode as anode mud. So whenever we are going to pass electricity through this anode and cathode, you will find that the anode will start dissolving in electrolyte, whereas the cathode will accept ions from the electrolyte. In the long run, what happens? You will find that the size of anode decreases and the size of anode decreases and size of cathode increases. Now, what about the impurities? Those impurities which are soluble, they will remain in the electrolyte. But what about those insoluble? Those insoluble impurities will settle at the anode as anode mud. So, which kind of metal they are purified by this method? The metals like copper, zinc, gold, silver, aluminiums are refined by this method. Now let us see how the refining of copper metal occurs. So in this refining, we will see that there is an apparatus which is made up of iron tank lined with your graphite, and here we have two electrode. One is a anode, another is cathode. Now anode is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, or cathode is connected to the negative terminal, or you can say any DC source. So what is the anode? Anode is the impure form of the metal and cathode is the pure form of the metal. So which metal we are taking? Copper. So here impure copper metal is anode and pure metal copper metal is cathode. Whenever the circuit is complete, or when the two are connected, the circuit is complete, whenever the current is flowing through the circuit, what happens? You will see that this anode will start dissolving in this electrolytic solution. You see the blue color solution, that is copper sulfate solution. You know that copper sulfate is blue color, so this is a blue color solution. What happen? You will find that the anode will start dissolving in this electrolytic solution, whereas the same amount, see, one copper ion is dissolved here, so same amount of copper ions from this electrolyte will deposit at the cathode. Reason behind it, because this is negatively charged, this is positive, so negative will attract positive charge. So this is happening here. Now let us see what are the components here. Anode, impure copper rod. What about cathode? Strip of pure copper rod. What about electrolyte? Solution of acidified copper sulfate, means copper sulfate and little amount of acid is added. So what happened? What happened at the anode? In anode, what happened? Copper is forming copper ion and 2 electron will released. At cathode, we have copper ions except 2 electron and copper metal again formed. So you find that copper metal, the anode is the opposite of cathode. So in anode, you will find that oxidation reaction. In cathode, you will find reduction reaction. Okay, now let us come on to the next topic, that is corrosion of metals. So this corrosion of metal that we discussed in the very first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equation. So let us see what is the corrosion of metal. The spontaneous natural process of slow heating or degradation of metal by gases, acid or moisture present in the sphere due to formation of stable compound like oxide, sulfide and carbonate is known as corrosion. So here you can say corrosion means wastage of metal. Okay, so there are various kind of corrosion, but I have taken a very common example, that is corrosion of iron, and the corrosion of iron is known as your rusting. You will see that when iron metal react with oxygen, and here we don't have the number of water molecule fixed, so n water molecule will lead to formation of ferric oxide plus NH2O, that is known as hydrated ferric oxide, and that is also known as your corrosion. Okay, this is the rust of iron. And what is the color? Reddish brown color. What about corrosion of silver? Corrosion of silver is also known as tarnishing of silver. Now what happened here? Silver metal react with hydrogen sulfide gas present in atmosphere and form hydrogen gas and Ag2S. Ag2S is a sulfur, silver sulfide. It is a black color. So that's why after some time the silver ornaments become black in color. Now let us see what are the methods by which this corrosion can be prevented. The first way is by covering the metal surface with oil, paint or grease. So in this method what happens? You will find that as soon as we are cutting the supply of oxygen and moisture with the metal surface, the corrosion will stop. Okay, so very simple method. The second is alloying the metal with suitable metal. For example, in steel, you will find that the iron is a corrosive material. So when it is converted into steel, the corrosion resistive property will increase. The third, by coating a thin layer of less reactive metal over more reactive metal by electroplating. So you will find that the tin containers, they are, why they are tin container? They are basically iron metal which is coated with tin. Why tin? Because tin is very less reactive metal. So because of this coating, the tin will not get corroded. Okay, now the tin container you will find mostly your packaging. The reason behind it is because among all iron and tin, tin is very less reactive, so it is very corrosive resistant. The second method is your next method is your galvanization. Galvanization means coating of zinc metal over iron surface. And how it is done? Whenever iron material is taken and it is dipped in a solution of zinc metal, what happens when you are taking out the metal? A thin layer of zinc is deposited over the iron surface, and that is known as your galvanization. What about means? Next method, that is by using sacrificial anode to protect metal. In this method what we will do it, we will connect the metal with other metals like magnesium or zinc, magnesium and zinc. So what happened? You will find that whenever an iron container is connected with magnesium and zinc, the instead of iron, the magnesium and zinc will corrode and they will eaten up and the iron will be saved. So that's why what happened, you will see that sacrificial anode means, which is anode here? The magnesium and zinc metal that act as anode, and this is generally used in those places which are very prone to corrosion. For example, ship, for example, underwater underground tanks, they are very susceptible to corrosion. So in that case we are using this kind of method. This is, among all this method, this is the most advanced method and most effective method of corrosion control. Now the last topic, that is your alloys. What are alloys? Alloys are the homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or metal with more one or more non-metal. So there are two types of alloy: alloy between metal and metal, and alloy between and metal and a non-metal. For example, you see steel, it is made from iron and a small amount of carbon. So iron is a metal and carbon is a non-metal. So this is a steel we are getting, that is alloy of carbon and iron. Okay, so steel. Next is stainless steel. You'll see that iron, when it is mixed with nickel and chromium, then why we are mixing nickel and chromium here? Generally you know that iron is very prone to corrosion. So what happened, we are adding chromium so that it will get a very shiny appearance, and nickel, it will increase the corrosion resistivity. So this nickel will give it a corrosion property, anti-corrosion property, and chromium will give its shiny appearance. So as that's why you will find that stainless steel items are very shiny in nature. Now next is a brass. Brass is a alloy of copper and zinc, bronze, copper and tin, solder, lead and tin, amalgam. Okay, it's a very unique kind of alloy. Here the mercury is mixed with either zinc or sodium. Now this is, among all this alloy, this is the only liquid alloy. Okay, all these are solid alloy, but here the substance are in liquid form. Why? Because mercury is in a liquid, so zinc or sodium, they also will change into a liquid form. Now we have another alloy, that is duralumin. It is a mixture of copper and aluminium. So these are the some of the examples of alloy which we find in our daily life. Let us see what are the uses of these alloys. For example, solder is used for welding electrical wires due to its low melting property. What happens, you will find that whenever there is a connection in the circuit, that is done by the solder, so that this is a very unreactive. Okay, so there will be no oxidation, and the second one is it is having very low melting point, so it can act as a connecting link. Now alloy of gold with copper and silver is used for making jewelry. Why? because gold is basically a soft metal. So in order to make it hard and make it used for jewelry purpose, it is mixed with a little amount of say 2% part of your copper or silver, so that it become hard and ideal for making jewelries. Now we have another alloy, that is duralumin. It is used for making aircraft frames, boats. Why? Because it is very lightweight and very strong. Next is your stainless steel. It is used for making utensil, blades, etc. So I think stainless steel is the very commonly used alloy in our daily household. Now we have amalgam, that is used as a catalyst in organic reactions. You will read about this amalgam in the higher classes. Now here are the questions related to the topic that we discussed today. Please go through this question and write the answers of this question in your homework notebook. Thank you.